Oh, gee, I wonder what William was talking about.
Well, isn't that a big question? Because, you know, often things don't happen by accident in royal land. And certainly I don't know whether William will be regretting this statement. It seemed pretty off the cuff. I mean, he was pretty relaxed today. He was visiting some of the squaddies at the Army Air Corps in Suffolk in the east of England.
They were born into history, raised behind palace walls, and trained from childhood to carry the weight of the crown. Prince William and Prince Harry were more than just brothers. They were the future of the monarchy. But one decision would unravel everything they stood for. It started with a romance, turned into a rebellion, and ended in a silence that echoed across continents. What went so wrong between William and Harry? And was Meghan Markle simply the spark? Or something far more calculated?
And then sort of just made this comment after they were talking to him about visiting family, you know, the fact that they get spend long time away from home on duty. And I think this comment comes across a backdrop of obviously the family feud that just won't go away.
This isn't a fairy tale gone wrong. It's the real story behind the royal family's most painful fracture, and the warning that William gave before it all fell apart. William had always been the steady one, the heir, the planner, the dutiful son. He understood the rules of the game because he was born to play it. So when Harry introduced Meghan Markle, William didn't panic. He didn't object, but he did watch. And what he saw worried him. It wasn't about Meghan's background. William had met plenty of actors, public figures, and powerful women. But this was different. Harry was changing, fast. He wasn't just in love, he was consumed. Meghan was everywhere and Harry couldn't get enough. So William did what any older brother might. He pulled him aside and gently said, "Slow down. Get to know her. Don't rush into this." But Harry didn't want advice, he wanted support. And that simple plea cracked the foundation between them. It was the beginning of the end.
Adding, some of them might not want to see you that much. That comes just weeks after Prince Harry made a public plea for reconciliation.
From the moment Meghan entered the royal world, the energy shifted. She wasn't just a duchess in waiting, she was a force. Confident, media-savvy, and unapologetically ambitious. But ambition doesn't always play well with monarchy. Where others tried to blend in, Meghan stood out. From wardrobe controversies to clashes with palace aides, whispers of protocol violations quickly turned into tabloid storms. She wasn't here to be molded, she came to mold. William saw it clearly. This wasn't just cultural clash or growing pains. It was a challenge to the entire royal system. While Harry saw a woman unfairly targeted, William saw a woman unwilling to adapt. The media called it modernizing the monarchy. The palace saw it as trouble. The announcement hit like a thunderclap. Harry and Meghan were stepping back from royal duties. No warning, no real discussion, just a website, a press release, and a media storm.
Welcome back. The royal family feud is on full display once again after Prince William delivered a not-so-subtle jab aimed squarely at his brother, the Duke of Sussex.
Yeah, so during a visit to an army base, the future king joked that families are a mixed bag.
The Queen, ever composed, tried to contain the damage. But William, who had spent years preparing to lead, was blindsided. This wasn't just a brother leaving the family, this was a public defiance of everything they stood for. The message was loud and clear. Meghan and Harry were rewriting the script, but behind the scenes, the betrayal ran deeper. Not just because they left, but how they did it. And who they became after. Once free from royal obligations, Harry and Meghan wasted no time crafting their new narrative. Oprah interviews, Netflix documentaries, podcast exclusives. Every appearance painted them as victims, outsiders crushed by an outdated and cruel monarchy. The world watched, captivated. But those inside the palace couldn't help but question the story being sold.
Jeffrey said the Duke of Sussex's arguments were powerful and moving, and it was plain that he felt badly treated by the system, but he could not say that Prince Harry's grievance translated into a legal argument for a challenge.
Were there issues within the royal family? Absolutely. But the scale, the drama, the relentless media exposure, it all felt too polished, too performative. Meanwhile, Harry seemed less like a rebel and more like a supporting character in his wife's rising empire. The fun-loving prince was fading, replaced by someone more careful, more rehearsed. While Harry controlled the headlines, William held the line. As the future king, he couldn't respond. He couldn't tweet, post, or clap back. His power was in silence, but that silence was deafening. Privately, he was gutted. The brother he shared childhood memories and royal burdens with was now attacking the very foundation of their family. William had extended olive branches, quiet invites, private messages, but Harry rarely responded. The trust was gone, and the damage was public. Yet William pressed on, for the crown, for his children, for a future he never asked for but now had to protect alone.
This is what Sir Geoffrey Voss had to say in court as he summed up the decision.
The decisions taken in the decision letter and subsequently were taken, I said in my judgment, as an understandable and perhaps predictable reaction.
Meanwhile, Meghan was thriving. Hollywood welcomed her with open arms. She launched initiatives, trademarked phrases, and hosted elite events. But the shine wasn't without shadows. Former friends distanced themselves. Palace staff began speaking out. Reports of bullying, demands, and diva behavior surfaced. The image of the strong, misunderstood Duchess was now being questioned. Why so many exits? Why so much fallout? Why did drama seem to follow her like a spotlight? Slowly, the public grew weary. The once sympathetic figure now appeared more self-serving than silenced. And with every deal inked and appearance made, the brand grew, while the family ties crumbled. Harry stood at the edge of two worlds. He had love, freedom, and a platform. But he had lost something too. His brother, his role, his peace.
To the Duke of Sussex, having stepped back from royal duties and having left the UK to live principally overseas. So the conclusion, in my judgment, with which my colleagues, Lord Justices Bean and Edis, agreed, was that the Duke of Sussex's appeal would be dismissed.
He said he left to protect his family from chaos, but the chaos didn't stop. It just changed forms. The tabloids were replaced by podcasts. The scrutiny never ended. And with no palace to buffer the blows, it hit harder. Friends whispered that Harry had become distant, more guarded. The laughter had faded. The spark that once made him the people's prince now dimmed under the weight of constant PR warfare. He had chosen love, but at what cost? The brothers no longer speak. Not truly. William moves forward, fulfilling his duties. Harry builds his brand, defending every decision. But the fracture is no longer a secret. It's a defining trait of modern royalty. The monarchy has survived scandal before, but this feels different. This is blood. This is history being torn apart by choices that no one seems willing to reverse.
Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, has lost the latest stage of his court battle over the level of security protection he receives in the UK. His taxpayer-funded protection was downgraded 5 years ago. The Duke says that as a result, it's too dangerous for him to bring his family to the UK.
The firm continues, but the family within it feels broken. Two brothers raised as a unit are now global opposites. One bound to tradition, one chasing reinvention, and neither willing to come back across the line. In the end, the question isn't who won, it's who was left behind. William lost a brother while trying to protect him. Harry gained freedom, but perhaps lost his foundation. And Meghan? She got everything she wanted, except the one thing she can't rebrand: trust. This wasn't a war, it was a heartbreak. And it leaves us wondering, when fame, love, and power collide, can any family survive? Or are some fairy tales destined to end not with a happily ever after, but with silence?